Good day, good day, good day. I'd like to welcome everyone to my channel, All4Success, where we love to discuss a lot of things about the Sussex family, but we also talk about other things as well. But today is a special day. For us here in the States, it's the weekend for Cinco de Mayo, also the weekend for the Kentucky Derby, but along with that, today marked the coronation of King Charles III. So, in relationship to everything we enjoy about the Sussex family, there was a lot of talk and a lot of speculation involved around whether Harry would attend or not, and who would be there at the coronation itself. Out of all of the countries represented, who would show up, what they would have on, and things like that. So I just wanted to take a short amount of time to give you an idea of how things looked to me from where I was sitting. Well, for one, everyone seemed to be really enjoying themselves. Of course, there was a lot of rain that occurred during the weekend up to the coronation. So people who were camped out on site probably got very, very wet. So that was one thing. And of course, for those who are pro-Sussex, they felt that it was appropriate that there was a little bit of rain to dampen some of the folks' spirits. Along with that, we had the great parades that were planned. Many of those had to be pushed aside or rescheduled and canceled. And we're standing by to see how the actual events that revolve around the concerts, how that will play out. But it was interesting to see all of the pomp and circumstance and pageantry of such a ceremony being performed pretty much live and broadcast all over. So we did enjoy watching that. Even though we were all holding our breath to see how Harry would weather that whole scene being there without Meghan. Now, from the scenes that we saw, it appeared that he held himself together fairly well. Of course, it was noticeable that he was solo and that his wife did not attend, but it wasn't anything extremely negative about that appearance. He just basically held his own, stayed in the screenshot, but only when it moved his way. We watched all of the falderall around what robes, the type of crowns that they were wearing, and it was actually a sight to see. So, for those of you who didn't stay up or get up early to watch it, it's not a bad idea to take a look just to get a feeling for what was happening in the ceremony and how they put together all of those rituals that supposedly date back to time immemorial for them to do it. Now, one of the attendees was the vice president's, I make a mistake. It was actually the president's wife, the Honorable Jill Biden. She was available to represent the United States in place of the president. Generally, when it comes to ceremonies of these type, honoring kings and queens in general, the United States does not participate unless that king or queen is actually a governing figure, more than a figurehead, but a governing personality. So he sent his wife in his place. And also people note that our current president doesn't particularly hold a fondness for the old world of Britain. But his wife did attend, and it was very nice that she was there. There were some other people who came from various commonwealths, and many of the armies were represented from other commonwealths, so it was pretty interesting to watch. Of course, the person not in the room and the people and personalities no longer here with us would have been Queen Elizabeth herself, and of course, the beautiful Princess Diana. So those who remember Princess Diana, her character, I would say, there was a feeling left there in that ceremony that many of us would miss, because in our mind, we would have seen the crowning of the queen being Princess Diana. So it was quite a challenge to those of us who were fond of Princess Diana to observe the crowning of the queen, Camilla, who, from many of our perspectives, was the other woman. But, this 30-year period where she has been gone from us, it was very interesting to see. So we also weren't the only protesters in that thought. They did have a few protesters outside of the event. The general group that has that "not my king" symbolism. However, many of them were arrested, I believe, on the actual day of the coronation. And that too stirred up some controversy. So we will all find out how that plays out. Some of them even went as far as to have signs that depicted Meghan Markle as the true princess of the UK. And so that was interesting to see, because that would be extremely controversial. So for the most part, we will all be watching and continuing to keep an eye on some of this negative publicity that's out there about the Markles, Meghan Markle, the Markles, that her in-laws and the family members that are continuously trying to drag Meghan Markle's name through the mud. That would be still things coming up from her sister, also things coming up from her brother. And they also have a documentary out that they want people to watch and participate in anger towards Meghan. And they have really done a number by being not supportive of her as a person. It is very intriguing that a family would act like this. It really is. But we're going to have to see how this unfolds. And we're also going to have to watch and see how the rest of all of the endeavors that are going on with Harry unfold as he is working through all of these final court cases, and how they are going to deal with some of the allegations they have alleged, and whether or not there are other personalities or actors that are willing to put their name on the line and state that they too have various problems with the tabloid media. So we are going to be watching for all of those things, and we're going to continue to keep our eyes on how the family of the Sussexes continue to try to rise above all of the adversities that are being thrown their way. And I want you to know that for all of us who try to continue to maintain a positive attitude, it's very difficult. But I believe that we should, because we can see exactly how people who are working against them operate.